Okay, ancient history students, this is Mr. Doolittle. I hope you have your handout from class ready before you. It should look in part something like what you see here on the screen, plus more information. Of course, we have the ancient Near East. We are going to focus in on the land between Mesopotamia and Egypt, along with many different settlements, both in the north and south of this strip of land. So it should look just like the handout that you were given in class. I hope you have your colored pencils ready. We are going to, first of all, draw some red arrows to point out the progression of the Assyrian army from Nineveh a little further to the west. Now, as Sennacherib rose to the throne, first of all, he had to put down some rebellions in the east, in the region of Babylon. But after he was done with that, he moves to the west towards, he explains, the Hittite land. And then moving west, he then moves to the south, where he says, Lule, king of Sidon, the terrifying splendor of my sovereignty overcame him, and far off into the midst of the sea he fled. There he died. So on your map with your red-colored pencil, I want you to put in arrows such as you see here. An arrow both on the side of the page that has the ancient Near East and also the left-hand side that has the land between. You do not need to put the X marks, although if you put that there, that's perfectly fine, but that's not what I will require. I want the red arrows such as you see here, and then also with a yellow colored pencil, highlight the name Sidon, and then with your red colored pencil, put a box around Sidon right there. After that, Sennacherib tells us that numerous cities, including Bitzidi, Zaribtu, Mahaliba, Ushu, Akzib, Akko, the terrors of Ashur my lord, overpowered them, and they bowed in submission to my feet. So if you would also highlight with yellow colored pencil and also put a red box around those cities there. Again, you don't need to put the X's, just to keep it from cluttering up your paper. But again, if you bring it in having done so, that's perfectly fine. Now, those were all cities that had rebelled against Sennacherib, who had withheld tribute from him. But there were others that decided that they were going to be obedient and faithful and give him lots of presents and gifts. So he says, from King Menachem, the Shamsimuranite, Tabalu, the Sidonite, Abdiliti, the Arvadite, Urumilki, the Gublite, Mitinti, the Ashdodite, Buduilu, the Bethammonite, Kamusu Nabdi, the Moabite, Malikoramu, the Edomite, kings of Amuru. Now, it's worth noting that Amuru was what they termed this western territory, including all the lands that you see here. So after he lists all of those kings from all of these cities, he refers to them all as King of Amuru. These are the western kings. All of them, he says, numerous presents as their heavy tribute they brought before me for the fourth time and kissed my feet. So there were cities that rebelled, and there were cities that obeyed, that honored him as he was coming through with his armies. But after listing all of those obedient cities, Sidka, the king of Ashkelon, who had not submitted to my yoke, I tore away and brought to Assyria. In the course of my campaign, Beth Dagon, Joppa, Bene Barka, Asuru, I besieged, I conquered, I carried off their spoil. So a little bit further to the south, we see a number of cities along the coast that also withheld tribute, that also rebelled against Sennacherib. And he took them. The people of Ekron, he continues, the people of Ekron, who had thrown Padi, their king, into fetters of iron, and had given him over to Hezekiah the Judahite, they called upon the Egyptians, and these came to their aid. So look carefully here on the left-hand side. What I put in green includes both the city of Jerusalem and the city of Ekron. They had an alliance whereby King Padi of Ekron, he was a faithful servant of the Assyrians, but Hezekiah of Judah convinced the people of Ekron to overthrow their king. And King Hezekiah took King Padi of Ekron captive to Jerusalem, threw him in prison, so that these two cities would join together in rebellion. So King Sennacherib of Assyria, he hears about this alliance, and he comes down to attack Ekron and Jerusalem. And the city of Ekron calls on Egypt to help. So there you have Egypt. So there is a great battle between Assyria, the people of Ekron, the people of Jerusalem, and the armies of Egypt. And Assyria defeats this alliance. So, after that, he says that Eltekeh and Timnah, two other cities, he besieged, I captured, and I took away their spoil. As for Hezekiah the Judahite, who did not submit to my yoke, 46 of his strong walled cities, as well as the small towns in their area, I besieged, I took them. Hezekiah himself, like a caged bird, I shut up in Jerusalem, his royal city. Now, what I want you to do, again, without putting all these X marks here to signify all the defeated cities of Judah, I would like you to put a circle, a red circle, around the city of Jerusalem, and then inside the circle you can color that in green. What is extremely significant is, as opposed to all the other cities of Judah, all Sennacherib can say is he surrounded it. He besieged Jerusalem. He caged Hezekiah in just as one would cage in a bird. And Sennacherib is trying to tell this account in the least embarrassing way. He is trying to magnify himself. He is trying to list all of his achievements. And you can be sure that if he was able to get Jerusalem to surrender, he would have said that he besieged it, he captured it, he took away its spoil. But instead, all he can say is that he shut Hezekiah up like a caged bird in Jerusalem. So that is Sennacherib's side of the story. You also have Judah's side of the story as conveyed through the book of 2 Kings, which you read over the weekend. But what you should have on the map that you were given is what you see here on the screen. These red arrows signifying the movement of the Assyrian armies. You have cities that are colored in blue. If you would color those cities in blue to signify the obedient, the submissive cities, which gave King Sennacherib tribute, and also highlight in with yellow and then box with red those cities that did not and were captured and defeated by Sennacherib. The one exception here being Jerusalem, which Sennacherib surrounds but does not capture.